How to Protect Your Mind from Colonel O'Connell, another gatekeeper, double agent, infiltrator. This is not a lecture. This won't be one. This will be a more of a demonstration uh, of how to deal with motor mouths, fast talkers. It's not so easy on the fly. I don't recommend it on live radio, live TV. You're you're likely to get infected with the the behavior, the energy of those who are not mentally well. Let's put it politely, if that's polite. So it's nice to work from a recording uh, at one's leisure and unpack, untie the knots, untie, expose the lies. So thank you, internet and recording tech. Today's demonstration of how to expose, debunk, really think through lies is a response to the Colonel's latest geopolitical BS and rabid dog-like meltdown on the final hour with Travis, a radio show at Republic Broadcast Network. Uh, I've hosted that show a few times and will again this Friday. I guess it's Republic Broadcasting Network. Anyway, the recording was made on the 17th of July. I've exposed the Colonel before, and he's discredited himself with other caustic ad hominem attacks and really childish tantrums. Doesn't like being questioned. Well, being able to deal with people who question your positions and opinions is it's a sign of a true thinker. It's easy to spout lots of knowledge. Let's no, not even call it knowledge, lots of information. Well, with that, let's listen to some of the claims and awesome insights he shared prior to his tantrum.
Punch Bowl. Lions Punch Bowl.
That's the sound of Travis, the show host. He will begin this second hour. Oh, it's the first hour, yes, of that show by expressing his suspicion that uh, everything in the media is BS. American politics is a psyop, and the Colonel will not respond very well to that opinion and derail that thought, take us into his familiar territory, and we won't get back to the notion that perhaps the media is a giant psyop machine, the military is a psyop machine, politics is a psyop machine, until the very end, I don't know, 45 minutes later. With that, let's continue.
Anyways, talk. I want to get to what y'all think about this Iran war in quotes and what's going on, in the Middle East. Because I'm just starting to get the feeling that a lot of this is scripted. I think U.S. politics is scripted. I mean, they have this dialed in. They know how to play the people big time. And I think part of this war seems a little bit fishy to me. Like, if Iran was sitting on all these weapons, why didn't they just let them loose? What's going on here? Like, what do y'all think about that? Anybody want to lead?
So I'll always lead if you want me to.
Go ahead, Brendan. You probably got the most to say about that.
I have an opinion.
That is the Colonel.
I have an opinion, yeah. So 8% of the missiles were shot at Israel. Okay. They missed the port of Haifa. They swore they would blow up the ammonium tank farms 15 years ago. They just got rid of them 18 months ago. So Hezbollah's had 15 years. You'd think after 2023 and the slaughter of 1,400 hippie Jews and
So clearly he is not addressing Travis' idea, suspicion that there's something fishy about the war. And the Colonel is just plowing straight ahead, dumping information that is based on the belief that the war is real.
in the kibbutzim, who are not exactly BB voters, but they're all having their ecstasy party out at the time, which would be pretty freaky when you're running a rave and Hezbollah turn up and they're all off their heads on LSD and ecstasy, so that's quite frightening. You'd think Hezbollah, now was the time.
Where does he get this information? Sometimes it'd be nice to have some references.
As the Gaza was flattened and genocided, and Jews in their wisdom are uploading videos laughing about killing kids.
Yeah, so clearly he believes everything he sees on the television, or wants, no, correction, he wants us to believe everything we see on the television. This 80-year-long war between Israel and Palestine is a joke. Clearly, we cannot seriously believe that supposedly a nuclear-armed, high-tech nation with a standing army, navy, air force needs 80 years to deal with Palestinians who have no standing army, no navy, no air force, and reputedly just a little bit of funding from minor players, while Israel gets billions from the US plus military intelligence. No, the 80 years is clearly ridiculous, and it is a way to distract the American public, the world, and to suck taxpayer money out of programs that need it. None of this concerns the Colonel. He is absolutely invested, or pretending to be invested, in the war narrative.
Stuff like I usually do. And you think Hezbollah would be firing off those missiles? See, I like simple questions. Simple questions. 100,000 missiles, they said, and we'll blow up the ammonia tank farms. Well, they had a chance to do it, but they never bothered. Now they're gone. They've been removed over a year ago. We're still waiting for them to blow up any sort of critical infrastructure in Israel, maybe the Intel fabrication factory, something, anything. But apparently they can't do it.
Well, they can't do it. They won't do it. It's because the war is fake. It's not because of some strategic moves made by geopolitical players.
Half of them land on poor areas of Tel Aviv and other areas. And there's good old Iran. If you had been there, and I have been there for 3 whole months, you realize that Iranians hate Arabs more than they hate Jews.
Yes, of course, he's been there for 3 months and seems to know something no one else knows. 3 months in Iran. I've had actual Muslim friends and one Iranian friend. I have never heard any of them express hatred towards Sunnis or Shias or Muslims in general. But the Colonel knows better. He knows the world is seething with hatred, ready to go to war. Yeah.
And I'm not just saying that. Everyone I spoke to wanted to show back and said they'd happily trade with Israel. Israel runs amok in that region. They just blew up, just went boom, 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 boom. You were
Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Guy should be a disc jockey.
Everyone was. How is that? You have a nuclear weapons program running in Iran.
Oh, he's also into the nuclear weapons psyop. Yeah, he loves that. It's such an important piece of the war narrative. He's not interested in comparing photos and looking at the evidence that, hey, we've been had. No such thing as nuclear weapons. Maybe no such thing as nuclear power either. Another big hoax that's sucking money out of taxpayers. I'm not going to expose the nuclear hoax here, but please do look at photos, aerial photos of Tokyo and the 50 other some odd cities that were firebombed and compare them to the aerial photos of Hiroshima and Nagasaki after they were supposedly nuked. You will find no significant difference. They are all bombed conventionally with firebombing method. And the people of Nagasaki and Hiroshima, after the bombings, quickly poured back into those cities and rebuilt them. No evidence of cancer rates exploding or even trickling upwards. And we might say the same about post-Fukushima Tokyo and those places around Chernobyl. I don't see any real evidence of mutants running around due to the nuclear radiation. But they want their boogeyman, so we have to think carefully and not live in their nightmare.
Which is fully funded and operated by Israel, just in the same way Israel got all those nuclear weapons parts via South Africa into Pakistan for their nuclear weapons program, just as India, who's been best buddies with Israel for a long time, also helped, along with Israel, get the nuclear parts into Iran. That's what.
Wow, Israel and India helping Iran become nuclear power. Well, yeah, this is part of the Colonel's belief, no story, that Israel would like the Shias and the Sunnis to blow each other up. They're absolutely not worried that Iran might drop a nuclear weapon on them. They're so confident that they will arm Iran in the belief that Iran will only use their nuclear weapons against, I suppose is it Shia or Sunni, whatever. Iran is Shia, yes, so they'll be dropping them on the Sunnis, especially Saudi Arabia, as the Colonel will insist.
What people don't realize, they don't understand why Iran is being built up and allowed into the Middle East. If you just watch any videos that's sent to me by Muslim friends, they'll say Saudi, Saudi. The guy goes, "Oh, I want to be martyred in a few years, or my friend's going to be martyred." And it's all in Farsi, but it's translated.
What utter nonsense is this? You think Middle Eastern people, Arabs, Persians, want to be martyred? They're so invested in their belief that they must conquer Sunnis or Shias. What ridiculous. These people in the Middle East are so much like ourselves. No interest in martyrdom. The Colonel is just pouring fantasies into our heads.
And the general goes, no. And he goes, then we'll destroy Israel. And he goes, no, Saudi, Saudi. Saudi. That after Saudi Arabia, you have to understand the hatred between Sunni Saudi Arabia and Shia Iran. You have to understand it.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. He's repeating that command like a good colonel. You have to.
If you understand that, you'll understand why Soleimani was congratulated by the Washington Post for cooperating with Israel and the United States in Iraq. Why? Because then Israel goes to all the Sunnis, all the Arab world, hey, the Hadiths, 70,000 Jews from Isfahan, the Mahdi army. That's what they're playing on. So they will come and sign a peace deal with Israel. And Saudi said, you either end their nuclear weapons program, or we will get a nuclear weapon out of Pakistan. Most people don't realize this hatred. And if you will never understand the politics, you understand that hatred. And Israel plays it off.
Yeah. Somehow Iran is not interested in bombing America, no longer sees America as the devil. No, now Iran is worried about Saudi Arabia. Sure it is.
Hatred between Sunni and Shia is like you would not believe. Like you would not believe. And you've got a huge Shia population in Iraq as well. So with this, but even the Iraqi Shia are still Arabs. And the Iranians look down on them as subhuman. They don't like them. Many consider Islam an abomination, and they want it all gone. You have to understand there's a bit of a streak of
you have to understand there's a bit of a streak of
supremacy in the Persians.
Supremacy in the Persians. Well, they are proud people who believe they lost their imaginary empire. Poor things. Well, but this suggestion that people in the Middle East have bloodlust for each other, nice fantasy.
Because remember, Hitler said that the Indo-Europeans and the Aryans came out of Persia. And they had quite a love affair for Adolf Hitler.
Oh gosh, now Hitler is an expert on history and anthropology and human migrations. Wow.
Iran. So with all these little dynamics operating in the background, you begin to understand, well, how do you get all these nuclear weapons parts, which are closely watched? How do they get billions of dollars traveling backwards and forwards? How do you get billions of dollars? They were spending about $4 billion a year just in Hezbollah alone. That's a lot of people to pay. It's a lot of weapons, a lot of expenditure, a lot of tunneling equipment, a lot of concrete, Hamas. But apparently, just all going on under everyone's noses. And then when they decide to end it, it's ended.
Wow. Under everyone's noses except his. He's going to go into detail about Hitler. Let me share a little bit more. I have a number of points to share.
That was actually one thing I want to ask you was Hitler, and mentioning Iran. Yeah, and I get it that Iran is they maybe people there that love Hitler, and so what's your opinion on Hitler?
So let me share some summary and commentary before we actually listen. Point number one, Jeremy there, I believe his name is, asked if Hitler was the real deal. And the colonel said, yeah, he's another Trump, the real deal. Not so competent, a clown, really, with no secret agenda. No, seriously, Hitler was a WCC operative. Remember, he was in jail, I think, in 1926 or something. And somehow for 1 year, yes, during that 1 year, he wrote a book. That's what people do when they're in jail, yes. They have the comfort and leisure and a desk, pen and paper to write books. Someone has exposed that book as the work of a Jesuit. It's not a good book, regardless of who wrote it. I'm something of a book expert, and the quality of Mein Kampf is my camp is not so high, to put it mildly. And after his release, about 9 years later, he was welcomed into the ruling party of Germany and became Chancellor of Germany, the second most powerful man in the country. That seems perfectly normal. You go to jail first, and then the leading politicians of your country choose to put you in the number 2 position. That sounds like a good idea for your party, not suicidal. Well, the real deal, yes. Apparently, Hitler really wanted to help Germany, but now this is me. Oops, Hitler somehow made a mess of it. No, somehow brought Germany to its knees for a second time. Yeah, obviously, the destruction of Germany in World War II was not an accident. Obviously, this stuff is planned carefully. Point number 3. The colonel spoke highly of Hitler's artistic abilities, his paintings. Really? What does the colonel know about art? What criteria did he use to evaluate Hitler's art? It is pedestrian, very uninteresting landscapes. King Charles II is about on the same level. If either of them, actually produced the paintings attributed to them, I'm doubtful. Number 4. Apparently, according to the colonel, Hitler is a genius because he has, or had, photographic memory. Oh, yes, I believe C.S. Lewis had photographic memory too. It's actually a curse to have photographic memory. It means you're no longer functioning normally. You're emotionally and intellectually challenged, let us say, by this hyper ability to remember things that really mostly are not important. Number 5. Hitler was a great man because he won the Iron Cross twice and apparently participated in some very challenging unit. Well, many corrupt leaders claim they worked for the military. Bush Sr., for example, who magically survived an ejection from his plane into the Pacific Ocean and really never saw any battlefield experience. And who else was it? Steinbeck's son was supposed to go as a photographer during the Vietnam War, but that wasn't good enough for his resume, for his PR. So the military quickly said, oh, yes, he was a machine gunner on a helicopter. Yeah, somehow he was quickly trained to become a machine gunner on a helicopter. Yeah, that seems like a slightly difficult job that would require lots of skill. Kind of like the skill the what are they called? The Mongols had when they reputedly were expert archers while they rode horses. Give me a break. But And Hitler was a great man, according to the colonel, because he went through hell in World War One. Yeah, prove it. Prove it. No proof for anything the colonel says. Hitler spoke like a lunatic. Please never, never trust people who act like hysterics in public. When I start speaking like Hitler or like the colonel, please stop listening to me. Number 8. Well, this is not about World War II or Hitler, but the colonel did say that the Holocaust, something about the Holocaust. Yes, he also believes in the Holocaust, of course. All the wars, all the horrible war atrocities should not be questioned. Let's listen to a little more. Let's let him speak for himself.
Hitler's like Trump. He was another politician, gifted orator, who was funded by the same Jewish bankers who fund everything else. Those same Hufjuden. Once you understand the history of the court Jews, all those families of Europe, they were funding. And Goering was his handler. Goering was his handler into the royal families of Europe. But they were terrified of the Soviets. It's the same. It's play them off.
What was the purpose of Hitler then? If he was just
they were going to form the United States of Europe. So they would build up North Asia, would be under Stalin or Lenin or whoever was going to win that little battle between them. Sorry, Stalin or Trotsky. Trotsky wanted to just roll on. In 1919, they could have rolled into Poland. The Poles kicked them out, booted them over the Vistula back in 1919. Well, otherwise they would have been into Poland as well. But Stalin was North Asia, Mao was South Asia, and Hitler was to handle the United States of Europe, and David Ben-Gurion would be in the bunting cloverleaf map in the Federated States of Greater Europe. I've made these little maps.
Wow, he talks so fast. All these nations pivoting, allying, competing for territory. It's all, please, it's all nonsense. We live in a one world empire. All sovereign nation states are illusions. I have proven, I think I can use strong words here. It's proven that in a previous lecture. Please, we have to stop believing that this political map we're given as children has any basis in reality. There's this world, this geopolitical world has always been a one world empire, and they need us to believe that we are divided into nation states because that allows them to generate the war narrative, and the war narrative keeps us believing that we need governments to protect us from each other. What a clever game they play.
To make the point. Now, Hitler didn't stop, though. It was Goering. We can't risk everything. He was going off at Hitler. Hitler's a judge, used to give interviews. Very detailed, very interesting interviews. And about how Hitler was in love with England. He was a complete Anglophile. Loved England. He married a German girl. He's a judge, one of his main assistants. And he worried about his security clearance. I mean, in 1937, 38, he married an English woman. And he was in love, and he worried about his security, and he had to go to the Fuhrer and tell him, and he was really worried that he would be removed from his position. And he said, Hitler said, "Oh, an English girl, wonderful, the world needs an England." It was a fantastic interview if you can find it. But the whole point was Hitler was to stay and form the United States of Europe. And Hitler said, "No, I'm going to take in and charge and take over the whole lot." And Britain was in on it. The UK was in on it. Most of the UK establishment.
So is that sort of a precursor to the European Union, is what you're...
Exactly. That's what the European Union is. So
I saw you mention something about Angela Merkel, some sort of tie to Hitler, and I remember I've heard that before, but I
no. I probably said it was the same thing. It's the same thing. But no, she's a communist.
The opinion, Brandon, that Hitler was actually the real deal. He was,
Oh,
Last great leader.
he was. Well, he was, but I wouldn't call him
And
a
then
great
he was
leader.
controlled opposition, but that he
Oh.
used. Well, they used him as controlled opposition ultimately. Like even if he wasn't, genuinely that way himself.
No, I believe he was
I
sincere.
don't believe that he
was.
was genuinely, part of their plan, or like in on destroying Germany and giving
No,
up.
I don't believe that.
Like, I really don't believe that at all.
No, I don't believe that either. But him and Trump are very similar. Trump was brought in for a role, and Kissinger was booted, and they got a hold of Trump. Trump wouldn't know his butt from his head. He just.
Oh gosh, this the schoolyard language wouldn't know his butt from his head. No, these people are all very clever and carefully trained. Hitler didn't learn to talk the way he did in primary school or high school. This was intense training, and it's of course interesting that so much video footage came out of Germany of the atrocities, because at the same time, shortly before, we know Germany was already producing very high quality film propaganda. They were the Hollywood of Europe was in Germany.
Got told, they hate each other. They're always fighting, all these people. They're all same bookers, same schools, same private schools, same colleges, same coke dealers. They're all a big bunch of half-wits out of New York. But
Okay.
no, it was a very. Let me tell you about Hitler. Let me tell you about Hitler. Hitler was a brave soldier.
Let me just ask you a specific question on him, right? So if Hitler would have won, if Germany would have won, then where would the world have gone?
Well, you see, of course, too, that Trevor's initial expression of suspicion that politics and the wars are fake, are scripted, are psyops, that thought has been entirely buried by this discussion and this flood of ideas that are predicated on the belief that it's all real. Yes, there are conspiracies between various cliques and countries, alliances, and so on. But no, at the bottom, it's all real competition for power. It's all a psyop, my friends. It's all a huge distraction from the real war, about which I'll talk later.
East to Great Britain, you have your empire. I'll take Eurasia, and you have the rest of the world. We'll basically rule the world together, and he couldn't work it out. I mean, imagine what's. Oh, seize my memory. Yes. I love the way everyone passes over the fact that one of Hitler's closest advisors or closest friends from the prison, who typed out one camp for him in prison, from the beginning, jumps in a Messerschmitt 110, flies at night over England, and everyone always sort of poo-poos Hitler and his friends. And they're very brave, skilled soldiers, skilled aviators. Hitler was extremely brave. He won the Iron Cross first class twice. He was a regimental runner, the most dangerous job you could have. And they poo-poo his art. His art was very good because he didn't get into the finest art school in the world, and they're sort of, what a loser. A loser? The guy had an IQ off the scale. The guy had a photographic memory. The guy went through hell the First World War. I don't judge Adolf Hitler by the same standards as the same slob, a Pentagon general. After the horrors of the First World War, what they went through, I judge him by.
Yeah, that's pretty funny that they would say, oh, you didn't get into the finest art school. Well, the finest art school was like Jew art, where they pished on a cross and put it in a jar. That he wasn't into that. His art was very wholesome.
No, it's very wholesome, and they said he was fatherly.
Generated.
Yeah, and he said that his friend, his secretary said he was fatherly, he was kind, he was quiet, he was understanding, nothing like he used to take his meth with Dr. Morell before he'd give his speeches. He was off his head. But the other Hitler was this very kind to children, gentle with animals, hated Goering hunting animals, hated it, wanted to ban smoke.
It was all a good show. Good show for the Germans.
After the war, when people were healthy. Well, there's all these things you think, well, what about the good things? See, but we don't get that. We don't get the human side of this man. He's just a monster. Because if we get the human side, we might try to understand how all this stuff happened and who was funding and who was.
I once bought into that notion that there is a human side, and that we should even perhaps pity Hitler. He did suffer a lot in his childhood, lost many older brothers. All his older brothers lost his father, and finally his mother was living on the street. Yeah, it's quite a Charles Dickens story. But it's probably just a story, and it doesn't make up for the fact that Germany, went through World War II on his account, and he's clearly off his rocker, either pretending to be insane and that's what my position is, because normal people don't talk the way he did. All this is creating a leadership cult around himself, a Führer cult. It's sick. You're not treating people as thinking beings. No, you're marching around like a general, telling everyone how it is and what must be done, getting people all excited and stupid. That was his job.
Providing IG Farben all this cover on the LLCs out of Wall Street. We'd find out who was running things. But bottom line is, I believe Hitler was sincere, but he also had a lot of Jewish funding, and I don't notice any Rothschilds in the camps. And someone said, well, he arrested a Rothschild once. The Warburgs, the most famous German Jewish banking family of the Warburgs, and they sat out the whole war in Munich. So how does that work? 180,000 Jewish soldiers in the German army. Brian rigged the book, Hitler's Jewish soldiers. 180,000 by their own racial standard. 4 generals. Well, I mean, anyway.
Half or quarter Jewish. They were there. That was okay. I think it was that they were half or quarter. I don't know if they full.
Well, yeah, there was all
this. Like, the whole point was of what Hitler did, which was, I think, the right thing to do, was to remove Jews from power. Because when Jews get in power, they take over your country and they ruin it. They basically corrode it, and that's what always happens everywhere.
Well, I mean, what about the Goy's responsibility? What the Jews made?
Well, fair enough. Yes, the colonel will say that the Goy, Germans, generally non-Jewish people, are degenerates often. Oh, fair enough. But all of this is very still very superficial. If we assume that people in power who claim to be Jewish really are Jewish, and we believe that without looking at their lifestyles, their behaviors, and the motives they might have for pretending to be Jewish, those motives, yes, would be strong, because I think I've expressed before my belief that, and my evidence, that we're not ruled by Jesuits or Jews or Phoenicians. We're ruled by Western European aristocrats who magically disappeared just before the 20th century, thereabouts. And they, we know, are the builders of all the colonial cities, old world cities. They weren't built by Jews or Jesuits or Freemasons or Knights of Malta. It's the aristocracy, probably more than 13 families.
We watch porn, but I get your point. I just prefer to be based on guilt. Are you a degenerate piece of garbage? And there's lots of Goy who are degenerate pieces of garbage. So Degeneracy is
Yeah, sure. That's a whole other thing, right? But I mean, as a world power, the Jews have spread that, and they've there's a lot of people who fallen prey to that because the Jews are really like the agents of Satan. I mean, they really are. Well, you not agree with that? I was just thinking.
And the colonel got a good laugh out of that. I don't think he takes religion seriously, to his credit. But, well, I think Jeffrey was trying to make a serious point.
I was just thinking if Q could take power and get Trump in power and get him to where he really can do what he does, under Q. I mean, then we would be all set.
Huh?
I'm saying if Q could take power, Q. Yep.
This is priceless. Are you
Trump taking real power?
real power? When will the puppet have real power? Well, these people. He has real power. It's just shared with thousands and thousands of other aristocrats, people with aristocratic blood. And who was it? Wasn't it a 12-year-old girl some years ago who somehow exposed that every US president, minus one maybe, is related to King George, I guess the third. Yeah, the contemporary of George Washington. Well, that's another big lie. But regardless, it's evidence that might be cited here that you're not ruled by presidents. No, you're ruled by a cult, a huge, numerous cabal.
yeah, sorry, not into Q. I'm not a Q style person. That's good old General Flynn stuff. That's General Flynn. But
Well, see,
anyway,
that's
the
the
deal was
Heritage Foundation, though, Brendan. Like, so I'm sort of familiar with them. There's so what
I'll
is
tell
it?
you.
What you're kind of you're optimistic about them in some way, right?
what depends what you mean by optimistic. They're not going to let America.
I don't know. I mean, you're say so. Just tell us what you think about the Heritage.
Right, imagine the Ring of Power. Imagine the Ring of Power. All these scumbag Howard Lutnick pieces of garbage. They're just degenerate pieces of garbage. I just can't stand the sight of that.
Oh, such strong language. I wish he would share the criteria he uses to judge people so harshly. I'm sure his criteria are different from mine. I'm not interested in judging goodness in terms of how you benefit life, health, are productive of intelligence and happiness. You know how to share and know how to and have the mental health necessary to tolerate being questioned, which he can't tolerate.
It's disgusting. Chabad. I mean, the more vile, disgusting half-wits than Chabad. And I knew two members of Chabad, and they're actually good people. They got out. They're married Catholics. They got the hell out. They used to tell me all sorts of stories about what's going on. The sexual abuse, the beating of the women. They shave their heads. They have to wear wigs. It's just absolutely horrendous. Good old Chabad, diamond trade, drug money laundering, meth labs, you name it. There is nothing those half-wits are not involved with. And they're right there in the damn White House. But getting back briefly to Hitler, Hitler said, I'm taking the whole
What happened to the Heritage Foundation? No, geez, he's just flying off the rails all the time.
He had his own clique, his own crew, all right? And that's when Hess is going, why is the UK backing out? And he flies to Scotland and bails out over a castle. And they sort of poo-pooed Hess as a madman. Well, he's a pretty damn good pilot.
Yes, Hess. I forgot his first name. that hero who somehow flew over English airspace during World War II undetected. That was a nice, set a nice precedent for the 9/11 attacks. Yeah, wonderful. Amazing how people can slip through air defenses without any special training or equipment.
Madman, flying at night, flies his Messerschmitt 110 inverted, bails out. I mean, whoa, a legend. I mean, that's a legend. That's incredible bravery. And I'm sick of the poo-pooing. Let's have the facts, please. Just give me the facts. And then he wants to meet
Not shot.
Rudolph Hess.
Right?
No, he didn't get shot down. He bailed out. He flew over, flew inverted, and bailed out. And he landed near a castle.
What is the benefit to flying inverted? You can bail out, eject, while being right side up. Why do you have to fly upside down? Well, it's a good stunt, I suppose. We are in Hollywood.
Wanted to see Lord, what's his face? I can't even remember his name. And he was imprisoned.
Right, that's right. Okay, yeah, he flew a mission so that he could talk to, because he wasn't able to. I got the book here.
Rudolph.
Try to find it here.
Rudolph Hess. Rudolph the reindeer.
Well, they were going to let him out. And everyone just moved on. Like, oh, yeah, whatever.
Okay, so the Heritage Foundation. So what are you?
That was started in the 70s. That was started in the 70s by. That was started this.
Like Boomer, like sort of retards.
No. That was started by some hardcore Swedish Protestant Christians, Greek Orthodox Catholics. They then employed a big bunch of Trotsky.
I don't know where he gets that info. I know the conventional info is that the Heritage Foundation was founded by two men with German ancestry and one with English heritage, shall I say. But no, apparently they were Swedes and Greeks and whatnot. And well, it's amazing the information this man has.
Neocons out of the University of Chicago, including Bill Kristol's father, Jewish intellectuals to do their writing for him, all part of the Federalist Societies and a bunch of half-wits. Now, they are clearly educated now on how the world works. And when you say what's going to be good is this. Jewish power is finished. It's finished, all right?
Yeah, well, this is a new narrative, a new theme in the Colonel's mind. It was once upon a time, not so long ago, that the Jews were responsible for everything. But now, somehow their reign of power has ended.
They're doing deals. They're trying to get a place at the table. The central bankers are in panic. King Charles is.
It's just amazing how this man talks. It's like, what can I say? He really has a front row seat in the minds of the world's leaders, CEOs, and generals. You know, they're panicking. He was there. I'm sure he was.
Flying to America, begging like a dog. He wants a role in the Middle East. He hates Rothschild. They're all squirming. They're all fighting.
Oh.
They're all a bunch of schoolgirls. These people are not smart people. They are schoolgirls, spoiled, privileged brats, and they've had an easy run for a long time. So now US elites are taking over. Now, what are they going to do with them?
Wait, I thought the US empire was declining. No, US elites are taking over. Awesome.
Ring of power. Oh, I don't know, but it's pretty frightening. It's probably going to be slightly better than the other one. But the point is, what are they going to do with all this AI automated systems power? What are they going to do with it? Who's going to resist that power?
AI.
Okay, so
So it turns out that AI was discussed in the first hour of this show. We'll get back to that now, and the focus will become technology and America.
Jimmy, I don't really want to like repeat those, questions, but because I listened to those pretty intently. But you didn't seem to be too concerned about these data centers and this control grid going up right now, which
But there's already a control grid.
well, let me ask.
There already is a control grid. Fair enough. It's mostly true, but do we want to let the powers that should not be tighten the noose with more technology to do so? Nah. Why not? Doesn't concern the good colonel. Let them tighten the noose. The noose is already around our necks. Let them tighten it. So what? Yeah. Thank you, Colonel.
Frame my question properly, okay? So you have the Epstein network, right? And you have this control grid going up.
That's another psyop, the Epstein network. Epstein files, Kennedy files, nonsense. Absolute theater.
All these flop cameras, and you have all this digital ID and programmable money, all that stuff they're trying to put in place right now. We're working on it. And that's really scary. And once they do that, no Epstein criminals are going to prison. They're all getting away. There's a two-tier justice system. So how is that not a threat to us as people?
I didn't say it's not a threat, but when you get rid of your smartphone, I'll take you seriously. Get rid of your smartphone. That's a
Well, okay, so he admits to his credit that there might be a threat in AI technology and flock cameras, but apparently the colonel thinks there's no solution, no escape from this noose. And if you're really serious about escaping from it and really don't like it, well, throw away your cell phone. That's his advice. Throw away your cell phone. Well, yeah, but people have been forced to depend on them for their livelihood. So, well, he will build on his advice.
See, I'm the sort of person that you have to make sense. You can't sit there and tell me, oh my God, this, oh my God, that. And I just look down at your smartphone and say, that thing, you are voluntarily giving every thought, every feeling, every opinion. It's, if you're wearing a watch, it's measuring your heart rate, your blood pressure.
Well, voluntarily, it's like people during COVID. Some felt they had no choice but to comply in order to keep their jobs and feed their families. It's was not an easy choice for lots of people. But for the colonel, committing suicide is easy.
It's listening to you constantly. It's doing all these things, and yet nobody wants to give it up, but they're telling me how worried they are about data centers. It's like, you're not even making sense.
Well, okay. I mean,
Well, no, it does make sense. Just the fact that we need cell phones to function is not an excuse for the people who control that technology to use it to monitor, surveil us. It doesn't have to be such an abusive technology. It could be put to slightly better use. It could be less nefarious. But for the colonel, it doesn't matter what the powers that be do with our technology. We have to take it. We have to roll over, or opt out. Throw out your cell phone. There's only those two choices: fully comply or throw out your cell phone.
you got a world we live in to some degree, right? I mean, okay, so tell us how you then operate without all that stuff. So what you're talking to us on Teams now, you have some kind of technology that you're using. So what do you mean? Are you completely off grid? Like you don't have any cell phone, you have nothing?
I love my technology. I love it. I love this AI. It's been the most fantastic tool I've ever used in my life. It's helped me my productivity. I can
High productivity. What does he produce, please? Just verbiage and not very useful verbiage.
find words.
So you
I
got
love
one?
every minute of it. But
What do you, okay. Well, which models are you using? Which AI?
I use an S23 Plus and an S25 Ultra. I've got a tablet S9 Ultra. I've got a desktop and I've got a laptop, and I just love AI. I use
He just loves it. Well, yeah, it probably makes his research, dare we call it research, his investigations. No, he doesn't quite qualify it. But yeah, it probably makes his digging for information easier, maybe. I know I've used it. It saves me plenty of time when, not plenty of time, almost infinite time when I need to find quotations from books or themes in pop culture. I don't have time to read every book on the planet, and I don't have time and or interest in watching every movie and listening to every song. So thank you, AI, for helping me discredit and expose the culture of lies we live in. But back to AI, yes, the colonel loves it. Of course, he does AI, and he has no concern about what it's doing to our children. That's a serious problem. Children using AI to avoid really to avoid becoming literate. We have an education and intellectual crisis worsening with every generation, and the current new generation is something to worry about, absolutely. But no, not for the general. Oops, I mean the colonel. He's only interested in geopolitics and the wonders of technology.
it every day. I do audio-visual stuff. I do research. I gather thoughts. Fantastic tool. Fantastic.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what AI models? I'm asking like Chat GPT, Claude, like
I don't know. I use Perplexity, which uses all of those.
He uses perplexity. That's a funny name for an AI tool. Perplexity, like being puzzled, somewhat confused. Yeah, well, it does function as a tool to keep us confused. It does give accurate information, indeed, but not important, accurate information. No, nothing that will help you think outside the box we are given. Gemini also is a good one. I mean, really, why do we name an so-called intelligence tool after a astrological sign? This is we're in the world of superstition again, and Gemini. That's a funny word too. Um, it has the word mini. Makes you wonder. Another AI tool named Gab. It will be mentioned in a moment. Gab. Well, that's another good joke. They're laughing at us. Gab means talk too much and derived probably from Scottish and Northern England dialects. Once meant speak foolishly, talk indiscreetly, and maybe even older roots before that meant to scoff, to jeer, to mock, to ridicule, to lie, etc. And of course, we have Chat GPT, perhaps the most famous of all. We might do some letter decoding with that and find lots of sixes. I won't bore you. Chatter is the root, I suppose, or is the verb of chat, or is the noun form of chat. What does chatter mean? Well, it meant in the early 13th century to twitter, to make quick, shrill sounds. So non-verbal nonsense, not intelligent, articulate sentences. No. It's also related to jabber, to gossip, to talk idly or thoughtlessly. Chatter and chat. Yes, they're laughing at us. Same with Twitter, of course. If you Twitter, you're speaking nonverbal nonsense. And if you're twittering, then you're a real idiot. How fun. Yahoo is an idiot. All these words tell us that they're laughing at us. But the Colonel won't tell us that because he's one of them laughing at us.
I use Perplexity. You pay, it's quite expensive. It's good old Peter Thiel and JD Vance. It's the best one, Perplexity. It uses all of them and also use Gemini as well.
Gemini. Okay. What do you think about Gab AI?
I have no idea what that is.
Okay, Gab. Well, Gab is. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, I think where most Americans are concerned about these data centers, they don't want it built in their backyard. They know the harmful effects that some of these data centers, have with, ultrasound frequencies being given off. They don't like the fact that they're being spied on all the time. And again, I think it boils down to people. It boils down to the bottom line. If people's power bills and water bills start going up because of these data centers, they're going to start getting a little bit pissed off, and I think that's what they're starting to sense. And in addition to everything else piling on, we get crappy service for what we pay for, and you can't get a hold of customer support. You're always put through an AI agent. So people are starting to get annoyed by this, and I think it's going to really compound when they can't pay their electric bill because this data center went in.
Mm-hmm. Well, none of this really concerns the Colonel, the everyday, so-called mundane struggles of the people, electricity bills and water bills being surveilled. No, that is more than annoying for people. It's driving people mad. Let's see. Let's hear the Colonel's response.
When annoyed when 3,000 Americans were mass murdered or
Okay, so they don't have a right to be annoyed about the injustice of their economy, the fact that these data centers are sucking money out of their wallets and water out of the system, electricity out of the grid. No, they don't have a right to be annoyed because apparently they weren't annoyed about 9/11, in which supposedly 3,000 people, Americans, died. And well, it's another psyop, been exposed quite well, but that's no. The Colonel must not question acts of war because that is his bread and butter.
huge war, 2 million dead Arabs, and they weren't annoyed with that. I mean, the American public will put up with anything.
Yes, all the Arabs who died in, I suppose he was referring to the Iraqi wars, maybe the Syrian war. Yeah, well, show me all the amputees and other injured people who immigrated into Canada, Australia, Europe. Where are they? No, they're all in good health. Somehow, no one I saw, and I've seen immigrants from the Middle East, none of them were injured. And none of them knew anyone who died. Isn't that, well, I haven't spoken to millions, no, just a few. in my experience, there's no evidence that real war happened in the Middle East. And many of the Middle Easterners who left panicked and emigrated from their countries were victims of their own media. They too didn't see real evidence of a war, but their televisions told them it's happening in the next town, or yeah, somewhere out in the desert.
Look, I'm a different person. I'm a hardcore Scorpio. I don't want to hear excuses. If you're gonna complain about stuff, get rid of your phone. That's the first thing. I want to see you with a 5210. I want to see your 8 years of food. I want to see your bunker. And God bless you. I'm going to give you a hug and say, can I please join your prepping community? Because
that's just pure mockery, without any. Obviously, he doesn't know what average Americans, Canadians, people are dealing with around the world. Very, very few people can buy 8 years of food and build a bunker. For goodness sake, we can hardly afford to buy land or pay our rent. Most people can barely afford to buy their groceries, or buying groceries on credit. 8 years of food. This man is so out of touch. He's got his head in a foxhole somewhere in an imaginary world of war. But I'm carrying on a little, having too much fun here.
well, I love that America. And you guys take it for granted. You buy an AR-15, we look at that like, oh my God, look at that assault rifle. We can't even buy a little handgun, a little 22 handgun.
We meaning Australians, yeah, and Canadians, it's the same. Yeah, Americans are so lucky. You can buy weapons. Well, he is mocking. He does sound sincere at this point, but he's actually mocking. And these professional liars, he'll expose his mockery indirectly later when he has something else to say about carrying guns. Yeah, what does he want? Does he want to provoke a civil war? Does he think that will be helpful? Obviously not. A violent revolution won't happen, won't work. And it's not necessary. People just need to walk away from the system and reclaim the land that belongs to all of us and start taking care of the land as we were meant to do. It is our destiny as members of nature.
You can't defend yourself in your home. You live in the greatest country on earth. You think I'm just doing this for clicks or something?
The greatest. He sounds like Trump. Yeah, it's the greatest country on earth. Stop it, Colonel. There's nothing seriously great about living in America.
You don't get it because you're just used to it. You have the power to change.
Yeah, I agree.
Man,
I think that
I look at America like it's the golden
This
Jerusalem of heaven.
Notice how he paused. I look at America as it's the golden Jerusalem. Oh, he was going to say the golden goose. Yes, the goose that keeps on giving, keeps on laying and rolling over and giving its wealth away, its energy, its time through taxes that are thrown into the black holes of the Pentagon and the NASA and whatever other departments and agencies they have that are putting this money to bad use and misusing it, using it for purposes other than they claim. Absolutely. No, not interesting to the Colonel.
Jerusalem, Americans just say, get out of here, don't come here, it's a shithole, it's finished. And it's like, man, let's reform it. Come
You kind
on.
of got me pumped up, Brandon, when you were talking about like how good we actually have it here and how free we actually still are compared to
Oh no, you're not so free. I'm living in Mexico. You have more freedom here. You can build a house with very little government oversight. You can live without lots of government issued ID. You can pay with cash still everywhere. And well, I think there's still more freedom here. And of course, that means there are also some drawbacks. But no, don't tell me about America, the land of the free. It's the land of the expensive and overpriced and etc.
Australia or New Zealand or England or Canada. That's absolutely true. And you were encouraging everybody to get down and make a difference in their local, political polity that they have.
Don't waste your time, please, people. Don't waste your time by making a difference, writing letters and shouting on the street. What's his name? That other geopolitical military expert, Noam Chomsky. That's his solution to the world, too. Send letters to your members in Congress, to the Senate. Absolute waste of time. And the colonel knows that, but does recommend it.
Meetings or whatever. And I really liked that. I thought that was pretty cool. We got a couple callers. We got Gregory in California and then Doug in California. So let's take a couple callers.
Sure.
Yeah,
Let's take some
All
callers.
right, let's do it. Yeah, Gregory in California. Gregory, go ahead.
Gregory was drunk, so we're going to skip over Gregory and their half-hour break to the quite about 16 minutes worth. All right, that's close enough.
How you guys want to sound it?
No, my apologies. I shouldn't subject you to that. I always choose better music as a host, I believe. There we go.
Santo. It's got some good lyrics.
No.
What time of day it was. And you talked about 9/11, Brendan. And I'd like to talk about 9/11, especially on the anniversary, because it was a major turning point for this country. And I'm surprised most Americans didn't get out in the streets and say, hey, wait a minute, what's this Patriot Act you guys already had written up? Like, what do you mean? But anyway, nobody shared. Nobody really listened. And here we are today. And these people think they can just do whatever they want. And I kind of got a problem with it. So, and I agree, there are some changes probably could do, probably can make at our local levels. But I've actually been there on the local levels, yelling at the school board about their stupid mask mandates when they had these kids masked up, little first graders chewing on their dirty, nasty mask. And they didn't care. They didn't listen. I got my 3 minutes and that was it. And they just kind of laughed it off. And, so yeah, I see what you're saying about change in this country.
I hear Travis. I understand it does look hopeless sometimes when we see how compliant and sleepy people can be, but they're not sleepy about their personal economic struggles, as the economic noose is being tightened. That is getting their attention. That is shattering some illusions. And that's what we should speak about more. Not so much about conspiracies related to geopolitics. People don't have time for it. They don't understand it. Not yet, but the economy driving them into poverty, that's getting their attention. And And that's where we should also focus some of our attention.
Should more of a stance. And there was 500 other people trying to get into the school board meeting to yell at these people. Maybe then they would have paid attention, but there was just a handful of us. And so that's the problem. There's just a handful of people out there paying attention, trying to, hey, listen to us. We got these issues. But
What's happening? What happened? Do you remember post 9/11? There were people everywhere. There were people on the street. There were people doing stunts everywhere. They were calling Homeland Security. They were reporting Israel. They were calling people in Australia. I made calls to high-level officials and had long conversations, all recorded. I've still got the video. There was stuff. People were doing stuff everywhere. Now there's nothing. There's nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing. Well, of course, the movement died because it wasn't paying off. No one saw any return on their investment. You can protest all you like, but it is a waste of time. What needs to be done is simply opt out of the system. Leave the beast to starve. Stop paying your taxes. Stop paying your credit card bills. Unite in the thousands, in the millions, and take back the land. Live as pioneers if necessary. It's got to be better than what we have now, unless of course, you're in love with your cell phone, as the Colonel is.
It's James O'Keefe, all these contrived little groups all working for the Army intelligence.
right. I agree. I think there's a lot of people working for the system in some way, shape, or form. They're getting a payout, or they
Well, I
have
can tell you what they're doing. They
What's that?
came to me. These things are handled quietly, Brendan. It's complicated. You could be on 10,000 a month in Mexico. That's like 30,000 a month in America. I know exactly what they're doing. They're going.
I think you got it backwards. You can be on 10,000 a month in, yeah, that's true. 10,000 a month in Mexico is about 3 times the value it would have in the US.
To everybody and showing their IDs. I've had SOCOM visit. JSOC sent me their ID. They're at Tampa handing out my videos to Delta, getting off Ospreys.
But that's funny that he did mention receiving an offer to be paid off, to receive money to do something. I couldn't quite make it out. He does talk very fast. It's interesting because people have wondered how this man is managing. He's been living in different countries, escaping, as he says, from Australia. He's lived in Mexico. Apparently now he's in Hawaii. He's got his toys. He doesn't. These people never have any real jobs. You have to wonder. Yeah. I'm a farm boy at heart, I suppose, and I've had many, many jobs. So, who are these people? Who's funding the Colonel?
So I know exactly what the spiel they're getting. The spiel they're getting is these things are handled quietly. We're fixing it. You could be on some serious money. Here's some coffee mugs. Solve this, and that's what they're doing.
Right.
What'd you say about ospreys? I didn't understand.
The Ospreys, the vertical takeoff, VTOL.
No, I'm not sure what that is.
The helicopter plane things. They got 2 propellers that can go vertical, and the plane can take off vertically, or like a helicopter.
Oh, okay. Oh, forgive my ignorance. I was totally clueless about that. Okay.
You don't work for the military, I suppose. You don't know what ospreys are. Neither did I.
I got a couple more callers here. Go ahead. Well,
No, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean we're at the end of the night. We're like our hair's out and all that stuff. Brendan, are you cute?
So how do you know I'm not, eh? I'm not cute. I'm sick. See.
Do you think that the Trump has got some military organization that's going to take this shit over?
Who is this clown? I don't know. You really, I know. Brendan is right to mock Q, it is a psyop, but it's easy for one psyop man to laugh at other psyops.
I think the Heritage Foundation does, yeah. I think they've already taken it over. I'm just not telling you that it's all going to be wonderful. They've got the Heritage are like they're into oligarchy, they're into theocracy, they're
No,
into top
bro, it's a yes or no. Are you cute?
No, not Q, but I had a guy called McEwen Patterson, not his real name, who's clearly the NSA from Hawaii, call me when I got back from Iran and say, you need to do puzzles. You're pretty full on. You talk really fast. Why don't you do puzzles? You've got to let people find out for themselves. I'm in Hawaii, and I'm thinking, and he started talking about Snowden, and I thought, okay. And he goes, yeah, half the girls in the office have got the hots for you. They love the Aussie on the run stuff. And I'm,
Yes, he's supposed to be an Aussie on the run. Yeah. Australia didn't like him. You can see the fake interrogation he posted of himself, I think, on his YouTube channel.
I'm thinking, you're NSA, dude. 100%. And then all the Q stuff started, all the puzzles. And he works with a whole bunch of people and he does cryptography.
Right.
It started as a joke. Q
So
started
that's
as a joke.
a yes. Is that a yes?
Yes, it's me. Do I get money? Yes, send me money on Q. I'll give you all the secret. Send me some money.
He's the guy who was posted on 4chan. He's the
No,
guy.
I never set foot there.
Denies it, so it must be him.
It's all fun and games right now, but wait until the next caller comes through and challenges, questions the premises on which the Colonel's fast talking is based.
He's cute. All right. Hey,
Let's bring Doug on. Then we got Andy in Texas.
I'm fucking dying here, guys. I wanted to rant. Give me a minute, Travis. First of all, Greg, don't call in drunk or high. I love you, but the program is fucking killing me. Second, Brandon, I tried to summon my Zatuichi.
That's me, actually.
Was unavailable. So David's going to face Goliath. And my first question to you is, why is there no accountability?
Because the American people have to do what Mary Silver's doing. She goes to every Republican meeting and I just want to punch him in the face.
Yeah, that's what you should do. Go to all the political meetings, your city hall. It'll make a real difference. Well, maybe if 10 million Americans did it, maybe. But that's not happening anytime soon. And yes, the wheels will fall off and then people will walk away when they've had enough of being squeezed. Don't waste your time writing letters and going to meetings.
I've just got no patience anymore. I'm burnt out. But she is a diplomat and she slowly but surely changed a lot of people's minds. Which is
it's the right Doug is saying. It's all bullshit.
It's all bullshit because everything is a psyop.
Everything is a psyop, says Doug. Everything is a psyop.
Part of it.
That's not going to go down well with the Colonel. He needs us to believe in his war narrative, his belief that politics can work if we just put some more energy and time into it, become active, politically involved citizens. Yes, when Americans are, well, of course, I can make excuses, but anyway, it won't work.
Part of it.
Get your guns and start killing.
What response is this? Get your guns? A man says it's all a psyop, and this is based on some careful thinking and evidence. And so, because everything is a psyop, we must get our guns. This is a non sequitur. It does not follow. It's not logical. It's mockery, especially after stating how lucky Americans are that they can carry real guns. What is the gun? What does a gun have to do with believing everything is a psyop? We don't really want to shoot all the fakers out there, all the politicians, CEOs, and others who are pretending to be good and decent people. No, we're not interested in shooting them. Is there no other option, Colonel? Well, not if you're a colonel, I guess not. It gets worse, believe it or not.
You're Americans. You've got all the guns. Stop killing them.
Let me talk. Can I talk?
Yeah, go.
You can't use.
But dude, what's the point of talking if it's
Can
all
I
a
talk,
psyop? Just go
Brandon?
and shoot yourself. Go and shoot yourself
Talking
now. Then if
about-
it's all a psyop, what are we talking for?
Yeah, okay, the voice is going up just a bit. He's going to be, yes, a little loud. Things I'll share it with you. But first, again, this response, this time, go shoot yourself. What's the point if it's all a psyop? Interesting. What's the point if it's all a psyop? Go shoot yourself. There's no logic in those two sentences. The point, if it's all a psyop, is this, Colonel, that we have to stop believing that positive change is possible, that the people in control of our world are so organized and so numerous and so clever. They don't just control the system, they created it. There is no way to reform it. So that's the message we must accept. We should accept. It's a logical conclusion. And there is no way to improve our lives except just to step outside of the system. Get out. Picking up guns, no. Shooting yourself, even less so, because once you realize that things will never get better by believing the system can be reformed, you actually empower yourself because you realize, hey, we have to make an alternative world and stop participating, complying with what we've been given. Shoot yourself. Really.
Oh, there. What are we talking about? It's all a psyop.
I'm not getting to talk, am I, Brendan?
No, but you just
You
told me.
can't use-
I'm
me.
fucking time with you. Why do I want to waste my time on a man who says it's all a psyop?
Well, he is, to his credit, he is correct here. It would be a waste of time for him to discuss with Doug because, of course, he's not interested in any evidence that it's all a psyop. That would destroy the foundation of his positions and opinions and his following. They would not be happy if they discovered that he's been lying to us. No, it's death to him. The notion that everything is a psyop, everything in the media is kryptonite to this man, this sub-man.
It's my time. It's all a psyop. Hang up and go smoke your pipe.
Brandon, just let the guy talk for a minute. Just please.
Don't tell me it's a fucking psyop. When my last the last 17 fucking years, dog. I fucking went after cunts like you. Useless fucking lazy American cunts.
But this is what happens when people with lots of information stored in their heads get questioned, get challenged. They can't handle it. They will seem on the surface very wise, but if you can't tolerate being questioned, you are not even close to being wise, even intelligent. It's a very revealing weakness. Well, I will spare you the rest of that nuclear meltdown and metamorphosis of a man into a rabid dog. Um, wow, I hope that's not a ad hominem. I think that's accurate description. I think this has been revealing how to spot a liar. Well, if he talks too fast, sounds overconfident, can't tolerate questions that undermine his foundations. Yeah, doesn't really engage others in a discussion, shows no interest in the fate of common people, no pity, no sympathy. No, you know who they are. They are not like us. With that, I hope you see how they have to be dealt with. I thank Doug for doing the dirty work, and I've done the cleaning up, let's say. Take care, everyone, and if you're interested in my written work, I am actually productive. Please contact me at, what is it? Proton Mail. No, Prophet of Fiction at proton.me. Have a wonderful day, and yes, I hope this has been educational.